Hello, everybody.
What's up?
No,
How's it going?
Blessed.
very
Good,
good. Thank you.
good. I'm Jasmine Flowers from I Hear That Girl. It's so good to talk to you all.
Same here.
Pleasure. Thank you.
So I'll go ahead and get started. Okay, so in the movie American Refugee, we know that Helen and Greg will do what it takes to to make their family survive. So I was wondering, how do you even prepare for a role like this where you have to, I guess, essentially your life is being threatened on the outside and the inside? How do you prepare for this?
2020.
Like,
Best answer yet, 2020.
I'm serious. I think it's one of those roles outside of the business and timing and being ready. I think it's one of those roles where, look, had this role come prior to 2020, I think it would have been interesting. But
right.
fact that it happened right in the middle of it, just mental chaos, questioning, survival, sacrifices, fear, pandemonium, all that crazy stuff. American Refugee.
What about for you, Erica? How was it prepared for this?
That was the most excellent answer I ever heard. Absolutely. If we weren't prepared before, 2020 prepared us all. These to have those conversations. And Jasmine, I also say that I think to be Black in America is to live in that paradigm where you can run, but you can't hide. And that we sometimes think we're safe. And then we find out, no, you're living right next to somebody who could destroy your life or harm you. And I moved, my father moved us to Poughkeepsie, New York, or near Poughkeepsie, New York, when the German Lutherans discovered him, and he took up an apprentice pastorship. And we moved out in a rural space, and we had two different neighbors on two different sides, and they were both white, and they were both racist in their own way. But I found out the true definition of a racist because one of the neighbors tried to shoot at us and blew out the front window. And my father didn't press charges. And I always wondered why. I always thought because he was so benevolent and he was a preacher. And then I realized, no, he was a Black man. And he probably thought, if I'll make him madder if I press charges. So yeah. I won't. So he eventually was forced to move by the people who owned the land. But now I look back and he did something that looks like he was, again, allowing for grace. But no, he was more like you got me. But since no one was harmed, I'm not gonna press charges. But we're under, we're cool, right?
Right.
The other thing might have brought more harm. And I think Black men always are having to make those choices, and that's been the toughest thing they've had to do for 400 years, is to avail themselves of looking like they don't have power, when the most powerful thing they can do is often just go, okay, because they want their children and the family to survive. And it's awful. And I think it's given them PTSD in a whole nother way.
Agreed. And agreed. Yeah, I love that you guys said 2020 was what prepared you all for this role, because my next question was going to be like filming throughout a pandemic, or what is like, as we're going through this pandemic filming, how was that experience for you all filming this project?
Well, New Orleans, as we've been speaking about, has its own pandemic situation. You deal with the uniqueness of it, but you also deal with the exterior and the weather. And we were shooting sort of like on a farm-like property, warehouse converted into a bunker. So all the elements were there, and and then again, like the whole 2020, being on set today, with all the guidelines and the mask wearing and we were in the middle of a pandemic, sort of sharing about a possible pandemic.
Right.
So, it was, it was interesting. The escape sometimes was just fresh air, not necessarily, it was just an interesting time. As a matter of fact, as we were doing these interviews, I was trying to figure out, man, when did we shoot this? And I'm like, no, we shot this right in the middle of the pandemic.
Mhm.
That's when I got my final vaccine, you know? So yeah, it was interesting.
Interesting. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Cool.
And none of
Okay.
the kids had their vaccine. None of the kids did or anything like that. So again, you're always asked to mask up and do these things, but you're also asked to be intimate with people and get up in people's faces and trust that that you'll be fine. And I think that actors, for the most part, are very safe on sets because there always been some sort of security about us. But here
Right.
we're asking everybody, even on their off hours, to be mindful and make sure
Right.
that they didn't do things to bring harm into the community they created.
Mm.
Yeah. So let me ask you guys, with this film, American Refugee, what do you want the audience to take away from it, from both of you all?
How strong Helen was.
He's so playful.
This is just me, you know. Oh, man, there's so many themes and dynamics. I like the confrontation of the two families. I like the
Mhm.
confrontation of two men from different side of the tracks, different ethnicities, because growing up, I didn't see a lot of men harnessing the power of a threat and doing it wisely, or
Okay.
trying to do it wisely, at the same time being afraid. Because a lot of people who said they weren't afraid, their actions was, their actions was either in defense most of the time.
Right.
I never saw the balance of an offense, and a defense. As a matter of fact, look, I'm on this call for 80 weeks. Like, it's this thing, and you have to come up with a question every week. And I asked one of my mentors, I said, when is self-expression a liability versus an asset?
Cool.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
because, I was on set some time ago. And someone came in the trailer and they were talking about the present situations. And as they were talking about it, I just slowly began to heat up. And a producer came in a little bit later. And when that person came in, unconsciously, like, I was on guard, I was on the defense. I responded first. And that's where the question had come up about liability versus self-expression, liability versus an asset. Because I was just saying that I'm always looking for someone to lead me through the chaos, not just lead me to it.
Right.
And there's some conversations that just lead you to it. And I'm looking how to get through it. You know what I mean? So
That's some deep stuff.
Yeah, it is.
Me to it, lead me through it. I know that's right.
Absolutely.
I'd say that love's in need of love today. That's what I'd like people. That the great Stevie Wonder, go listen to songs in the key of life. We need more. Ain't that the truth?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Stevie can help us through it.
Through anything, right?
Yeah. He don't lead you to it. He helps you through it. That's real. Come on now. You know it.
So I have one thing before I get ready to go. And I was like, I don't even know if I should ask this question because I'm actually fanning out right now. I was trying to keep it cool, but I have a question for you, Erika Alexander. Okay. So, we have seen you for so long. I mean, going from the Cosby Show to Living Single to Get Out and everything in between and things that you're doing now, like American Refugee. My sister is going to go crazy too because we still to this day talk about Living Single, growing up with that. But and Maxine Shaw, Attorney Headlong, all the other things that you've done. But I have a question for you. For all of these, the younger people or people starting their careers in entertainment, what kind of advice could you give to them about having longevity in the entertainment industry? Because you've clearly been able to do that perfectly.
Be a lifelong learner, a self-starter. You're going to go through times where you won't be working, but you should continue to work outside just as hard to learn new skills. I said that I wouldn't be here having this conversation even now if I hadn't learned new skill sets to sustain me, whether it was writing or looking into, I've taken classes at AFI to learn storyboarding. These were just things I was doing to keep myself, busy. But then it turned out to also be other ways that I could leverage my career, also expand revenue streams. I keep saying to people, do house and home first. Like, take care of yourself. Really take care of yourself. Be healthy. Make good choices when you're eating. I think being in showbiz is sacrifice, saying no a lot, because you're gonna miss out on things. There are times that I'm sure Derek is on set where he'd rather be with his son at school or with his wife. That's the sacrifice of an entertainer. They used to bury actors in unmarked graves, not in holy graves, because they didn't think that the career was that it marked you, like almost like you're a whore, and that's how low you were. It threw the bodies in big open graves. You didn't even get your own separate grave.
Yeah.
Yet I think that it's real work, and it's they called us essential workers this time so we could get back to work. So we were going to work almost just as soon as a lot of people.
Right.
And I think a lot of people discount actors and people in entertainment as being frivolous. And what you do, Jasmine, is being something that, what is that? Is that a real job? I said, it's the realest job you could ever have, to know and teach people to be human and to use your body, which is our instrument, and to say, I will use my experiences and my pain to map onto someone else as a tool to show you different worlds in different ways. That's brave. It's beautiful, but it doesn't often pay well, and it doesn't often applaud you. So I think that people need to make sure that they take care of themselves, that they learn, and that they read a lot, and let your mind sort of sort it out. And that's what I tell anybody. And I also wish them well and tell them that this is a wonderful thing to do and to take it seriously. And if you were asking somebody how to be a doctor or be a plumber, you ask a plumber or a doctor. I think a lot of actors get advice from people who have no idea what they're talking about. So go seek people who do it and who you respect, and listen to them. They may be as cuckoo as Cocoa Puffs, but I do think that we need to start to talk to the new performers and the new laymen so they can have the blueprint. They need more people to tell them what's out there so they can be able to, do their thing.
That's beautiful. That is absolutely amazing. I am so thankful to the both of you all. I just see you all on screen. I have always been a fan of both of you all's work, and just to hear you today has done even more for me. And I'm pretty sure it will do the same for our audience over at I Hear That Girl. I want to thank the both of you all, Derek Luke and Erika Alexander, for sitting down with us. And I hope you guys have a beautiful rest of your day.
Thank you, Jasmine Flowers. What a name. Jasmine and Flowers. It's like a double.
Thank you. I love it. Thank you so much. All right. You guys have a good day.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye. I hear that girl.